Hey there, welcome to the Legal Influence Podcast. My name is Kate Cooper, and if you're just joining for the first time today, I'm a Colorado attorney and outdoor content creator, and I started the Legal Influence to provide accessible legal education and resources to other content creators so that they can build thriving businesses and get paid what they're worth. In today's episode, we're going to talk about selling digital products online, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about MRR courses, aka Master Resell Rates courses, and share some of my thoughts about them since they have seemingly taken over the digital marketing space. As always, before I dive in, I do have to provide some quick disclaimers. Nothing that I share today should be considered personal legal advice. Everything is for informational and educational purposes only. While I am an attorney, I'm not your attorney, and listening to this episode does not create an attorney-client relationship between you and I. So today I want to talk about digital products because I think that they are a great way for influencers and content creators to add an additional stream of income to your business. But there are some legal considerations to keep in mind when you sell anything, especially online. And so I want to discuss some of those today. So when I talk about digital products, I'm talking about anything that you're selling online that doesn't require you to physically ship something to your customers. So this can include things like eBooks, templates like the contract templates that I sell. It can include online courses or workshops or memberships. And typically customers are going to be able to get access to these digital products immediately. Some of the pros of selling digital products include very low overhead costs. You may have to pay for whatever platform you're using to actually sell the product, but you don't have these big overhead costs like you would with a physical product where you're going to have to pay for things like the inventory, a place to store the inventory, shipping costs, labor costs to actually package and ship everything. There are obviously a lot of expenses involved with a physical product, and you're going to need to have a good amount of capital to get started, but digital products have a much lower barrier to entry. So if you want to start offering a digital product to your audience, the first thing that you have to do is figure out what digital product you're going to sell. So that means figuring out the type of digital product, whether you're building out a course, creating an ebook, creating worksheets, the medium that you're using basically. And then it also means figuring out what the digital product is going to be about. Why would people purchase the product? What value are they going to get from it? Any product that you offer should solve some sort of problem for your audience. And the best way to figure out what those problems are and what types of products your audience wants from you is to ask them. And you may already have people asking you for something. For example, if you're a recipe creator on TikTok, you probably already have people in your comments begging you for a cookbook, and you might not be in the right place right now for a full-fledged cookbook, but you can create an ebook with your recipes to get something out there with as little bit less production than you would with a full cookbook. You may also already have some ideas about what you want to create, and that's totally awesome. I'm not going to spend too much time here figuring out what digital product you should create, but obviously you need to have something in order to sell it. Also, keep in mind that digital products are going to take different amounts of time to create. So for instance, my contract templates take much less time to create than it took me to create an entire course about brand deal contracts. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're getting started with your first digital product, you don't need to go crazy. You don't need to put out some huge lengthy course, but you do need to put out something that is a quality product that you're proud of. So moving on, when it comes to actually selling and delivering your digital products, you have a lot of options out there today. And the platform that is going to be best for you is going to depend on what types of digital products that you're selling, where you're selling it, and if you have your own website or if you need something separate. And I'm not going to get too deep in the nitty-gritty of which platforms are the best because frankly, that's not my area of expertise. But I do want to provide some ideas so that you can start looking into them on your own. And I also want to share what I use to sell my templates and course. So I would say that Shopify is probably the most well-known platform out there that you can use to sell digital products. You can also sell physical products through Shopify. So if you have a hybrid business, that might be a good platform for you. Stan Store is also very popular with creators and influencers. It's aesthetic, it's modern, it's user-friendly from my understanding. So that's another option that's out there. When it comes to my own digital products, I sell my contract templates from my website. So I have a contract shop with all my templates and then different sales pages for each of those templates. And as far as the checkout platform goes, I used to just use Stripe for my checkout, and then to deliver the contract template after someone purchased it, I used SendOwl. And that was something that had a monthly fee plus a fee every time I sold something. And then from there, I had to manually add people to the right email segment on Flowdesk, which is my email service provider. And then once that happened, people got additional copies of the template in their inbox, along with instructions and access to a video tutorial. However, I recently switched things up, so now I use Thrivecart as my checkout platform. And Thrivecart is pretty pricey up front, but it's a one-time lifetime access fee. And the reason I switched them is because it also comes with a platform to host courses. And a lot of course hosting platforms have pretty steep monthly costs. So being able to just pay once made it a much better financial move for my business at the moment. So that's where the Brand Deal Contract Academy is hosted. And then I also have all of my contract templates there. So now you still get immediate access to the template, but you also get the instructions and the video. So everything's just together in one place. It's easier for you to access. So those are just a few examples of platforms that you can use to sell digital products. Obviously, do some research on what's going to be best for you based on your budget and the types of digital products that you're selling. Now, once you have your digital product created and you've put systems in place to sell it and deliver it to your customers, how can you protect yourself and your intellectual property legally? So the first thing you want to make sure that you have when you sell digital products are clear terms of use or terms of purchase. Really doesn't matter what you call them. What's important is that your customers have an opportunity to review them and then have to agree to them before they can check out. Because these terms of use are the contract that you have between you and your customers. So it's really important to make sure that they affirmatively assent to that agreement by checking that little box. So when you choose a platform to sell your digital products, you want to make sure that you have that option to require people to agree to your terms of use, and that you also have the ability to provide your own terms of use. And those terms of use should protect your intellectual property and make it clear what people can and cannot do with your digital product. You want to make sure that it provides any necessary disclaimers and other legal protections to help minimize your risk of liability. And you also want to make sure that your payment terms and refund policy are clear, along with other information about your policies. If you're currently selling digital products and you don't have terms of use, or you need them after you finish creating your first digital product, I have a digital product terms of use template available in my contract shop, which I will link in the show notes. The template is easily customizable, so you can add information about your business and the products that you're selling, and then you can also come up with some of your own terms. It also has all the standard legal language that you want to include to protect your intellectual property from copycats and thieves, and make the terms as enforceable as possible in the event of a dispute. And when you purchase the template, you get access to a Google Doc version of the contract template and then a Word doc version. So you can edit it in the platform of your choice. You also get access to a video tutorial where I go through the template with you so you understand what everything means and get some tips about what to consider when you complete it, along with the general instructions. So again, I'll have that digital product terms of use template linked in the show notes so that you can add those terms of use to your checkout. Now, the second way to protect your intellectual property when selling a digital product in the US is to register it with the US Copyright Office. Now, as soon as you create the digital product and you put it out in the world, you own the copyright to that product. It's your creative work, assuming that you're the one who actually created it. If it's AI generated, that's a whole other conversation that we're not having today. But if you want to take legal action in the event that someone steals that creative work and recover statutory damages and attorney's fees, then that work needs to be registered with the US Copyright Office. So when you're selling something online, it's a good idea to do that because it gives you another potential remedy in addition to your terms of use in the event that someone rips off your digital product. Now, the next legal consideration when it comes to selling digital products is one that I don't think a lot of people think about, and that's your sales tax considerations. I think there's a misconception that if something is totally digital, you don't need to charge sales tax. And that's not necessarily true depending on where you are and what you're selling. So you're going to need to look into the sales tax requirements where your business is located to determine whether or not you need to be assessing sales tax on your digital products. And again, a lot of payment processing platforms have the option to do that. I know Stripe does, Thrivecart does if you have their pro plan. So figure that out, talk to a local sales tax expert if you need to, and keep that in mind when you're selecting your checkout platform. Now, the last legal consideration I want to talk about is making sure that you're advertising digital products legally. Now, in the United States, advertising laws are governed by every influencer's favorite federal agency, the FTC. And they have a lot of guidelines around how you can and cannot advertise products. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit here now and talk about master resell rights courses, aka MRR courses. And I want to talk about these because they've become very popular in the online space in the past year specifically. And because they're often marketed as digital marketing courses, people often conflate them with digital products in general. And so I want to draw that distinction for you. And I also want to provide some lessons on how not to market your digital products. So if you're unfamiliar with master resell rights courses, first of all, give me your algorithm because I feel like that's all I see, even though I tell Instagram and Threads and TikTok, I don't want to see this. Essentially, these are online courses that are typically about digital marketing. But what makes these courses unique is that the terms allow you to resell the course. So basically, it's a course that you buy to sell the course. So that might not sound nefarious on its face, but the reason these courses are problematic is because, one, the way that they're marketed is often illegal. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But two, you have people purchasing these courses and not taking them, but just immediately turning around and reselling them as if they are experts in digital marketing. And I want to be clear that when it comes to creating and selling your own digital products, it's unethical to sell something that you don't have expertise in. For example, I have no idea how to knit, so it wouldn't be ethical for me to create a knitting guide and try to sell that to people. Like, why would I even want to do that? And the same logic applies to these master resell rights courses. If someone has never sold a digital product online, they can't ethically sell a course on digital marketing. They could use the course to help them create their own product, but it's not ethical for them to pretend that they're an expert in digital marketing when they don't have experience in it. And since the online business space is still largely unregulated and anyone can present themselves as an expert online, it's really important to have integrity when it comes to building your business. If you're just trying to make a quick buck off of people, you're not going to be around in business long. And these master resell rights courses are really just get rich quick schemes. And that's how they're being marketed. And they're very similar to pyramid schemes and MLMs. There are different structures out there depending on the specific course you're talking about. Some of these MRR courses, you just profit from your own direct sales of the course, but others function more like direct pyramid schemes where you get a cut anytime someone in your downline sells the course. So it's not really about the course, it's about recruiting people. So if you sell the course to me and then I sell the course to Sally, you get a piece of that pie. And then if Sally sells it to two people, now I get a cut and you get your cut. And voila, you've got yourself a big old pyramid. And no one has an actual product. You just have this course that you're reselling. At least with an MLM, you typically have some sort of physical product. You know, you're selling essential oils or whatever it might be. You still have the essential oil. Here, it's just the digital marketing course to sell the digital marketing course that teaches you how to sell the course. So these master resell rights courses are also very similar to pyramid schemes in terms of how they're marketed to people. You're basically just selling a dream. Again, the course itself doesn't matter. It's the right to then resell it that is actually being sold. So let's take a look at what the FTC has to say about how to spot a pyramid scheme. And I'll have this linked for you in the show notes as well. But According to the FTC, here are some warning signs of a pyramid scheme. Number 1, promoters make extravagant promises about your earning potential. Number 2, promoters emphasize recruiting new distributors for your sales network as the real way to make money. Number 3, promoters play on your emotions or use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now and discouraging you from taking time to study the company. So keep these things in mind as I go through the marketing tactics that Master Resell Rights courses use. And I do want to acknowledge that I feel for people who have been sucked into these schemes and who have been taken advantage of. I know a lot of people are struggling right now, and so I understand why they may view these courses as their golden ticket. It is hard and takes time to create your own digital product, as we just went through all those steps. So I'm not trying to call people out in any way, but I do want to call out predatory and illegal marketing tactics. So let's talk about those tactics. Now, the biggest issue with these Master Resell Rights courses are false income claims. And I'm sure if you spend any time scrolling through Reels or TikTok, you have seen videos with text on the screen saying something like, I went all in on digital marketing and earned $10,000 my first week, or I just was trying to make an extra $500 a month to get by, and now I'm making $15,000 a month. Or I made $1 million and retired my husband in 6 months after buying this one course. Now, here's the thing about claims like that. You don't know if they're telling the truth. There are tools out there that generate fake Stripe and StanStore income statements. People are out there lying through their teeth. Now, is everyone lying? Hopefully not. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who are being truthful when marketing those types of income claims. But you truly do not know. And sadly, there are a lot of people who are lying out there. They're painting a false picture about the income potential in order to convince you to buy the product. And now I've seen a few people now called out on Threads for sharing posts about making their first ever sale online. But then when you go to their profile and you look at the posts they're making on Instagram, they're talking all about how they help you make money and are making what are obviously false income claims. And to be clear, these types of false income claims are illegal, at least in the United States, and I would assume in most countries, but obviously look into consumer protection and advertising laws where you live. But again, I doubt abject fraud is going to be allowed. Now, another common marketing tactic that Master Resell Rights course sellers are using is targeting vulnerable populations. And this isn't illegal per se, but it's definitely unethical, and I'll just say it, it's pretty scummy. So you'll typically see videos that are targeting single moms and stay-at-home moms specifically. Those have always been kind of the prime target for MLMs, women who are financially strapped and often time strapped and are looking for ways to earn more money and contribute to their family. And you'll see claims like, I just work 2 hours a day to make all this money, and things along those lines. And again, those statements just aren't true. The reality is most people aren't making money from reselling these courses, let alone life-changing money. Again, it's hard to sell things online, and anyone who tells you otherwise is just trying to sell you something so that they can then turn around and tell you how easy it was. So you need to have an audience that's going to buy from you. Especially if you're new to online business, it's going to take time to develop that audience and nurture that audience. People have to trust you to buy from you. You know, overnight success in business can happen, but it's exceptionally rare. And the way that these MRR courses are being marketed, it makes it seem like overnight success is inevitable, and it is not. Now, another reason why these courses are problematic is because they often use bait and switch tactics to get people in the door in order to sell them an expensive course. Because when you see these videos with these outrageous fake income claims, they're often not immediately trying to sell you some $2,000+ course. They're offering to spill the secrets on how they made all that money and how you can too in a $7 or a $10 training. And who doesn't have that? It's a very enticing offer at a very low risk. And so it's a no-brainer investment for a lot of people. But here's the catch. That $7 or $10 training doesn't actually have all the secrets. No, that training only serves to convince you to invest in the much more expensive Master Resell Rights course. And you only have a limited time to do that. That's where a lot of these high pressure tactics come out. And you get convinced that even though this course is now a much larger investment, at the end, you get to sell it. So you can easily recoup your costs and then profit exponentially from it. That's the hook, line, and sinker. People get baited with very low ticket offers, and then they're hooked by the promise of false riches. And then by the time they realize this is not actually as easy as they told me it was going to be, it's too late. You've already paid, and now you're basically incentivized to do the same thing to someone else. So not all Master Resell Rights courses work that way, from my understanding, but that's how some of them operate. And it's also really important to note that Stripe, which is probably the most used payment processor across sales platforms, has recently changed their terms and conditions to prohibit the sale of these types of courses and from any business that's using deceptive or fraudulent sales tactics. And from what I've seen online, people have had their Stripe accounts closed because of this change. It's also just a matter of time before the FTC starts coming after these types of Master Resell Rights courses. Under the Federal Trade Commission Act, all advertisements have to be truthful and non-deceptive, which means that advertisers must have evidence to back up their claims, and advertisements can't be unfair. And this applies to both express and implied claims. So if you're saying, well, I made $20,000 in a week selling this course, and you don't have evidence to back that up, you're implying that someone else could do that too if they too buy that course. So even if you're not expressly saying something, it may still be illegal. Now, you can often spot people selling Master Resell Rights courses from their social media handles and the types of posts they make. You'll typically see words like digital marketing, wealth, money making, faceless marketing, which has basically become a proxy for Master Resell Rights sellers because it allows people to be anonymous and not put their face behind these scammy courses that they're selling. And these courses teach you what to call yourself, what to put in your bio. They give you the scripts to follow. They encourage you to engage with other resellers so that it gives an impression that people are super engaged with your content. Now, I've heard people online say that they've bought Master Resell Rights courses, not to resell them, but just to get the digital marketing information in the course. But here's the thing. I love digital online courses. I think there's a legitimate need for good courses on digital marketing that are created by people who are reputable and qualified. But here's my issue when it comes to these Master Resell Rights courses. If the way that the resellers are marketing these courses is any indication, the information in those courses can't be very good because people are using illegal tactics to sell these courses. They're committing fraud. And I don't think all these people are just independently engaging in these illegal tactics on their own. There's a very obvious formula that people are following, and they're clearly learning it from somewhere, probably from the very course that they're peddling to you. And so that's not to say that there isn't legit information in there as well. There probably is, but the whole sales model is just very icky. And so I wanted to kind of address that today. So that's my little tangent on Master Resell Rights courses. Now, I fully encourage you to go out there and develop and create and sell your own digital products. I hope this episode got your wheels turning on what you want to create and how you want to move forward in your business. Thanks so much for listening to the Legal Influence podcast today. If you enjoyed this episode of the show, I'd love for you to do me a favor and leave a rating and review on your favorite platform. And if you know any influencers or content creators who would benefit from this episode, please send it on to them. Talk to you soon.